Huh.
All right, folks. Dane here, Jonah Guitars, and I'll say hello. I pulled this out of the case here. It came in just for a setup. Actually, a friend of mine dropped it off and left a note, and so just said he wanted to set up and needed a truss rod adjustment and whatnot. So I pulled it out of the box and case and just glanced at the peg head, and I thought, oh, it's a Martin. Can you get in there? Yeah, it's a Martin. So I just sat down, played a little bit. It's got really super old, dead, crusty strings on it, 12 to 56s, 54s. And yeah, it doesn't sound bad, but the action was pretty, the neck had a pretty good up bow in it, so I'm just here messing with it. So I pulled it out of the case today and I realized it's not a Martin, it's a Takamine. But their scroll work there looks so close if you're just glancing at it from the Martin to the, you even got the established thing there, under it. So this is a 2F-360S. And I haven't bothered looking up the serial number, it's in there, but yeah, the other day I even put my finger in the hole and felt the truss rod, and it's at least newer than 87, because that was 85 to 87 they started putting truss rods in Martins, so I missed that guess too. At any rate, I just capoed it and put it down at the body joint and measured, and I'm way over 12 thousandths here, which is kind of a starting point for me in a setup, just to see where the thing's at. And I put a wrench on the truss rod. It didn't want to budge, so basically I had loosened the strings, and it's had even with the strings loose, it had over 12 thousandths even when I checked it. I snugged up the E string just to test it. So I may or may not have, and I want to keep this video really brief, I may or may not have demonstrated this before, and I've already done it, but you loosen the truss rod up. I took the nut all the way out because it's a single action truss rod. So I pulled the nut, which is basically a barrel bolt because it's a hex, internal hex key, Allen wrench. Vaseline the threads and the face of the thing, put it back together, and just left it loose. Then I take this block that I made years ago when I first started this stuff, and just put it over the strings. I got notches in the block, goes over the strings. I guess maybe I could bring you in for this part. Let's see, that should work perfectly right there. So got the straddling the strings right down on the fretboard, and then up here on the fat end, wider end, it's harder to get in between the frets, so I just ride on a pair of frets here. In this case, the body joint, so 14 and 15. And then I got this stick, just put a stick, center it in the neck, and put my clamp on here, and right around the 7th fret, but I kind of try to just eyeball the center of the active part of the neck, and which in this case is not even at the body joint. It's going to be up here in front of the heel where you might actually move the neck with truss rod adjustment. Because you're not going to move that heel, so effectively, from the 12th fret, up to the first fret is the only place you're going to realize any movement. So I've got it on my neck rest, so I'll just push my neck rest forward a little bit, and so I'm crowding up here. So I'm basically between the 5th and the 6th fret where I'm clamping, which makes sense if my biggest span is at the 12th. My length of my span is at the 12th fret. So, and then I just cranked it up, and I make sure that things are centered, and I'm not going to flip the thing off of here and mar the guitar in any way. And just use a squeezy clamp. Don't get your biggest pipe clamp in the shop and do this, because you'll just break your neck. So something that you couldn't really over tighten even if you were able to or wanted to. Then I just eyeballed the neck. And it's got quite a bit of back bow in it right now. And the theory is that if you get a back bow in the neck and then you snug the truss rod nut up really good. And I actually went to snug and I gave it a bit more, so it feels as tight as it was when I started, except that I've actually got some back bow in the neck rather than up bow or relief. And so that's all you have to do. Then basically I took the truss, the pressure off the clamp. I don't like to just, this particular kind of clamp can't undo easily, so I just squeezed everything together with my left hand as I back that pressure off. There we go. Then you can release it more gradually on that pressure. I don't know that it would matter, but it's just the way I do things. Try to be gentle. And so after I did all that, I still have a back bow in the neck, about the same as I had with the clamp on there. So I really held it. Now I'd much rather put the string tension back on the thing and then take pressure off the truss rod to bring the relief into where I want it, rather than once again have to like loosen everything, try to wrench the neck down with one hand while you tighten the truss rod. So I'd rather back off on the tension. So I'm going to put new strings on this thing because these are just nasty. I've got a set of these. I love these strings. Earthwood, Ernie Ball Earthwood. And these are 12 to 54, which is what the owner had on this one previously. So I'll get the strings off. I'll clean the whole guitar up really good. Treat the fretboard. This guy's had this guitar for as long as I've known him, so close to 30 years. And there's no fret wear on this. It sits in the corner a lot. Anyway, clean it all up, restring it, and then once I get tension back on the neck, I can start dialing that truss rod in by relieving the pressure on the truss rod, letting the relief come up. Okay, that's it. That's all I wanted to show you, was that little, helping the neck along with the clamps and the piece of wood across the top. So, yeah, and I had a little pad block, just in case I didn't mention that when I did it. A little block underneath that's got a slight radius cut in it, just to protect the neck as well. All right, that's it. Look at that. It's a 7-minute video. Not bad. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time. All right, guys, back on the Takamine. Now let's go ahead and zip down in there. So I did some, like I said, I was going to pull the strings off, do some cleanup. As I was cleaning up, I discovered that there was a crack in the soundboard, the top, right, just about an 1/8 inch inside of the line here of the neck, and one right dead center. And was able to just put some Tite Bond on the end of my finger and go into the hole here and squeeze it into the gap, and it just came right up through the top. I did that a couple times, as same as the one here. Then after that was dry, I went back in with medium viscosity super glue on a little whip tip thingy and just laid a bead in there and let it soak in, rubbed off the excess, both spots, and then also did another treatment of that. So it's flush. I didn't leave it proud of the surface because it had a little gloss to it. This piece of binding at the end of the neck, about halfway across toward the treble side, was loose, which I noticed as I was cleaning the fretboard. I was getting a rattle right there, so I propped it open with a little razor blade, put some of that super glue in there, held it until it dried. I was also open and loose on the treble side binding here from the end of the fretboard to like the 15th fret here. So I did the same thing. I pried that out a little bit, cleaned out the gunk that was in between there, and then applied super glue and clamped it back together. Shot some accelerator on there. So a little extra stuff. Same thing. Like I say, every video, when I ever show any of this kind of stuff, I tighten the tuners. So as I was trying to tighten the tuners, and they were all very loose. These three tightened up, and these three did not. So I pulled these screws all the way out, filled the holes with glue and toothpicks, let those dry, and then reinstalled these tuners. So now that's nice and solid. I did not, what I showed you in the last segment of the video, back bowed the neck, cranked that truss rod. strung this thing up and tuned it to pitch a couple times, you know, stretched them out, played a bit, and I didn't adjust the truss rod, and it's actually like about 10 thousandths here at the 7th fret, which is less of a concern to me than the fact that I didn't even check the string height, just because I can look at it and see that it's pretty low, and the thing plays killer, and I am shy of 4/64ths on that fat E string, and I am 3/64ths on the skinny E. So that's it's a pretty decent setup, really decent setup on an acoustic guitar. That's just normal on an electric. I hear a lot of people, you know, they kind of go like, well, it's 7/64ths, that's good, or it's 100 thousandths, and it's just, there's no reason why the geometry typically can't be worked out, as long as things are, you know, as they should be as far as the way the guitar is built. This has got rock right here at this body joint, and I can see just looking down at it that I mean, they come off of this neck, and the tongue on that fretboard just really tweaks in. I don't know, you may or may not be able to see that, like so. If I can get you at a place, I don't know, it goes downhill really good right there. But when I straight edged across the neck and went out to the bridge, I had good clearance over the top of the bridge even, so no issues as far as body to neck joint angle. Everything is really good there. So I was able to end up with something like that. So nice sounding guitar. Anyway, I never did look to see. I've been out here ever since I started shooting that first video. Been out just working on the thing, so I don't know what year it is, but I'm pretty sure this is the one he's had for the 30 years I've known him. So, yeah, there you go. That's it. I know I said it was a 7-minute video. Now it's got another 5+ minutes on it. So, oh well. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.